Hi and welcome. Hi Ebony. Welcome to my replay viewers. Welcome to this scope. My name is Angie K and I'm a weight loss to wellness strategist. I help busy women find their sexy. Hey, Miss Robbins Joy, thank you for joining us. If it's your first time joining my scope, my name is Angie K. I'm a weight loss to wellness strategist and I help busy women find their sexy, revel in their own version of sexy, and I give you tips that you can walk away and actually use today. So if you know of anybody that needs this scope, please slide up or over on your phone and or your device and share it, because I'm going to be going through some really great tips, if you can see that. So go ahead and share this broadcast. Share it on Twitter. Share it with your followers. If it's your first time tuning in, I'm Angie K. And we are going to go through the number one way to stop any form of sabotage and get you the results that you're really looking for. So if it's your first time joining me, go ahead and slide up or over and share the broadcast. Hey, thanks for joining us. Thank you. Change negative to positives. I like that name. Tell me where you're from and tell me what your name is. I'm Angie K. I'm a weight loss to wellness strategist and I help busy women make sure that they're able to revel in their own version of sexy. And this is a late scope, but it will be a very good scope. So if you think you know somebody who might need it, let's go ahead and share. And throughout this scope, I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys information that you can actually walk away with today and actually use at the next opportunity that you have to use it. And so if I'm giving you good information, make sure that you tap the hearts, make sure that you share it with your followers, make sure that you are actually taking notes, because I always do things in such a fashion that you're able to write it all down, keep it with you, and be able to actually use the information. So today we're going to talk about the number one way that I've been hearing that women in particular sabotage themselves, especially around this time of year. And so, we have all these holidays coming up. We've got, when does the candy come out? Halloween. I don't really celebrate Halloween, but nonetheless, whether you celebrate it or not, we are just inundated with candy for sale, candy everywhere, sweets, treats. And then once that's over, we've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas Eve, New Year's Day. And then if you survive all that, you've got Valentine's Day. So you've got this whole plethora of holidays that constantly bring you things that entice you, especially if you're someone who is particularly partial to sweets. And so I want to make sure that we're staying on track. And so I'm going to give you guys a surefire way to make sure you stay on track this time and make sure that you're not sabotaging with your food. Because I've learned, especially on my own journey, and I'll share a little bit about my story really quick. I was 120 pounds. And once I gave birth to my first son, I was over 200 pounds. And so that was in less than 9 months or so. And once I had him, I was able to lose about 20 of those pounds. So I was probably about, 180s. And I decided to go back to school. And once I went back to school, I gained another 30 pounds. And so after that, I was completely just devastated. Not only that, but a lot of different things were happening with my health. And that is what led me to stop all of the gimmicks, the products, all these different things that we try. These things are not sustainable. And I'm not knocking anybody that wants to use a corset or that wants to use a tea or that wants to use a patch, a peel or whatever. But what you may not know, two things. One is that companies constantly change the formulation of the products and things that they offer you. So you don't know if they've added something else to it or if the formulation has changed. They don't typically say that. They just sell it year after year after year and not really let you know what has changed. And this is not just things that we actually consume internally. This is everything from hair shampoo to running shoes. The formulations of all these different products and things that we like change all the time. And so you need to be aware of that. If it is something that you are taking internally, a tea, or patch that you're wearing, something that is able to get into your system, unless you're aware of the long-term effects of what you're taking, I suggest you not take it. Unless it's something basic like calcium, vitamin E, or something like that. And so if this is good information for you, we're going to get into one of the main ways to make sure that you're not sabotaging, because I not only would sabotage on my journey, but I would also try every patch, pill, gimmick, you name it. I've tried it. And a lot of times the weight would double back. And so, hey, welcome, Althea. Althea, it's a blessing to have you on here. Thank you so much for joining my scope. If you think this might be good information for someone who's having a hard time, make sure you slide up or over, share it with your followers, share it on Twitter. Make sure that we can get as many women as possible on here to be able to get this information. In just a moment, I'm going to set this up on the tripod and I'm going to let you ladies see. So make sure you're ready to write. I'm going to give you 6 quick tips that you can use to make sure that the number one way is taken care of, and that is your food. And so instead of using products, the one thing that worked for me was whole food sources. Whole food sources. An apple can only grow one way. A pear can only grow one way. And so no formulation of that can be changed as long as I buy it organic or as long as I buy it from a trusted source. And so that is when I really started to get the results that actually worked for me. And that is what led me to become a health coach to help as many women as possible. And so I'm going to go ahead and get into these tips. And so one of the things that was introduced to me on my journey was food journaling. And if you are not food journaling and you're still having issues with your weight or getting your weight to actually start to release, then you definitely want to be in tune to food journaling. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share with you guys these 6 tips about food journaling, okay? I'm going to try to get this right. I am like in an empty room in my house. We are like in the middle of moving. So, yeah. Okay. If you can see, these are 6 tips, and we're actually going to go through each one. And so this is just Food Journaling 101. If you think that this is useful and you think that you might be interested in food journaling, make sure you tap the hearts. Make sure you share the broadcast so that other people can get the information. And so the first thing you want to do when it comes to food journaling is you want to make sure that you write what you ate. And I hope this is not coming across backwards. If it's coming across backwards, let me know. Can someone type in comments if this is coming to you guys backwards? In my camera, it looks backwards. So let me know if it's coming to you backwards as well. Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Angie K. Hi. It's good. Thank you so much out there. So the first thing you want to do when you're food journaling is you want to write what you ate. And so don't track calories. You want to make sure that you're actually tracking what you ate, specifically 1 cup of greens or 1/2 ounce of, or 5 ounces of meat. You want to track what you ate. You want to also try to track what it is you put on it. So if you put on it 1/2 teaspoon of salt, if you know you put crushed pepper on it, if you know you put these things on it, make sure that you add those things as well. But you want to write strategically what it is you actually ate. Write it down specifically. If you had a whole, 22 ounce of Coca-Cola, write it down. If you had a certain meal at a fast food restaurant and you don't know what was in it, write it down, because it's going to be crucial to your food journaling. And so point number 2, we'll move on to point number 2. Write down what time you actually ate it. And so this is important because you want to be able to see how your body functions in the morning. What is making you tired in the afternoon? You want to get a really good feel for what's going on with your body and what you are feeling, because that is going to help you understand what foods are working for your body. Were you nauseous? Were you tired? Were you sleepy afterwards? Did you feel full? Did you feel bloated? Did you get gas? So you want to make sure you write down what you ate and what time you ate it, because you want to know if, okay, after breakfast, I really felt nauseous and the nausea didn't go away with lunch. You really, really want to tune into what you're feeling and the times that you're feeling it. So write what you ate and write what time you ate it. And if this is good information, make sure you tap hearts, because I want to make sure that I'm actually sharing things that you all want to hear. If this is not helpful to you, the not getting hearts will help me understand that. And then I'll revamp some things and make sure I actually give you guys useful information that you can walk away with today and start. And if you don't have a food journal, you can go to your dollar store. If you're in the United States, you can go to your dollar store. You can go to Ross. You can go to Hallmark. You can go to Staples, whichever place you want to go to get a really, really good journal. Number 3, you want to write down how you felt. So we kind of tapped into this one a little bit. So here is what you should be looking to feel. You should be looking to get your second wind. If you've ever been sleepy in the morning and you just woke up and you started to consume water, which is the first thing you should be consuming in the morning, it allows your liver to finish its detoxing that it was doing overnight. But that's a whole other scope, and I'll go into that one later. But you definitely want to give your body a fresh, clear liquid in the mornings. Always. Never coffee, never soda, never tea. Always drink water, clean, clear water in the morning. But you want to pay attention to how you feel after you consume that water. And you want to pay attention to how you feel after each meal. Anything that you eat should give you a second burst of energy. It's like having a pick-me-up in the middle of the day. And that energy should feel like it's being sustained. You should not feel sluggish. You should not have fuzzy thinking. Your cognition should not be clouded. You should be able to see and think clearly. And you should also be able, one of the things that I really, really learned when I went on my journey was that I was highly intuitive after eating certain types of things. And so you definitely want to pay attention to how you feel after all of this, okay? The next thing you want to do is you want to give it a score, okay? And this is something that I added a little bit later on. And so what do I mean by give it a score? Well, on a scale of 1 to 5, how was the food for you? How was the experience for you? Treat every meal as if you're going to like your favorite restaurant and you are actually giving the food, giving the service a score. So when you eat breakfast in the morning and you ever been like on a cleanse or something and you tried a meal and you did your water or whatever it is you were supposed to do on the cleanse and you noticed that you felt amazing. If you've ever noticed this, tap some hearts. If you've ever really tuned into how you felt, how you've understood things, give it a score. And so on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 would be a meal that you really didn't feel so good afterwards. It immediately gave you gas. It immediately made you feel bloated. It immediately just not made you feel all that well. And the score of a 5 means that you got your second win. You got exactly what you were looking for. So let's move on to point number 5. I'm going to hold my board up now, y'all. Point number 5. You want to make a list. That's make a list, not make a list, not naked. That's make a list. So you want to make a list. You want to make a list of all the things that you actually had a 1 on and all the things that you actually had a 5 on. Okay? Make a list specifically of the things that you had a 5 on and specifically of the things that you had a 1 on. Okay? And so on this list, I'm going to tell you what these lists are for. Because the problem with your diet is you don't know where you're sabotaging. You know the basic stuff, like you know when you had the cookies that didn't work for you, or you know when you had the burger that didn't work for you. But did you know that when you had whole wheat toast that didn't work for you either? Or did you know that when you had oatmeal that may not have worked for you either? So you really want to make a list. You want to make a list and you want to give your food a score. And then after that, you want to understand what it is you're feeling so that when you go forward, you've got something to base it off of. And I'm going to tell you what this list is about. I made a list of the things that had a score of 1. And that 1 meant I needed to avoid those things like the plague. They made me feel sleepy. They made me feel sluggish. They made me feel tired. I couldn't make good decisions. And so I had to leave those things alone. Even though some of those things were good for me, like yogurt. Like I can't do dairy. And I never would have known that if I didn't pay attention to my body. And so once I did that, I knew that things with dairy in them, things with eggs in them, they did not work for me. And I'm going to give you a quick list of the culprits that most people are having issues with. And when I say culprits, I mean things that make you feel, look inflamed, and keep you from releasing weight. These things are soy, gluten, dairy, wheat, and corn. And if somebody could type that in the comments to make sure everybody's got that list. Soy, gluten, dairy, wheat, and corn. These are the things that are actually keeping your body inflamed, in addition to some other things, but you're going to find out what the other things are by eliminating things and by writing things down, right? And so let's get to the last point. After you make a list, you're going to save it to your phone. Soy, gluten, dairy, wheat, corn. Thank you so much, Althea. Yes, thank you so much, Tayshan. And if this is good information, make sure you tap the hearts. Make sure you share it with your followers because this will still be up for 24 hours and they can jot this down. After you make that list, you want to save that list to your phone, and I'm going to tell you why. When you make the list, whether it's in your journal or whether it's in on your computer or wherever it is you're keeping the list, if you got a smartphone and you got a stylus, you can actually make a list on a note thing, which is what I did. You can type on that notes thing, or you can actually write on that notes thing. And in doing so, this will save your list to your phone. And guess what? When you're in a hurry and you've got to go buy something, you pull out this list and you make sure you eat from that list, because that list came from how you felt. It came from the foods that you gave a 5 to. Yes, whole grain, whole food sources. Now remember, corn is also a whole grain, and so is wheat, depending on how it's processed. But some people have really, I'm okay with corn, but some people get truly inflamed with corn. They get constipated. It doesn't digest well. And that can be fixed with digestive enzymes, but corn has been a really big culprit. But and it is a whole grain. It is a whole grain. So you want to make sure that you're tuning in here. And one of the things that I used to do when I gave my food a score, y'all, I used to make faces. Like if I felt like crap, I would draw like a little jacked up face. And if I really felt good, like I would draw a little man jumping in the air. Because for me, it really was celebratory. It really was celebratory. I was celebrating the fact that, hey, I found a 5 and I could add it to my list and save it to my phone. And so that was always that became our standing shopping list. And so everyone here that shops in my house has that standing shopping list. And we can always just we just check in the fridge, check in the cabinets, see what's missing, and we refill our home with a lot of the same different things. And so whatever it is you're going to be cooking with, it will come from your 5s, come from all the things that give you, increased energy, that make you highly intuitive, right? And that's one of the things I really want to point out to you. When you really start eating right, when you really tap into how you are feeling with your experience of eating, when you're really tapping into how you're feeling and you're able to actually quantify that feeling, one of the things that's going to really get on your nerves are people who are not highly intuitive. And I hate to put that out there like that, but people who are still self-sabotaging. You will be so mentally clear that it will be one of the things that really starts to get on your nerves. And so just understand that it's a part of the process. And like I always say, everybody has their point where they experience an awakening. They understand what their body thrives on. They understand what their body needs. Everybody, all of us, we're all going to have that and experience that awakening, right? And so in my opinion, I don't think that any one person, I'm going to put that down. I don't think that any one person is better than another person. I don't think that I'm better than someone else. I don't think that I know more than somebody else. I've never been that kind of person. But what I will say is, from what I've learned on my own journey, I understand that we're all on the same highway and we're just in different lanes. When people get to a point where they understand certain things. They make shifts. Whether it's in their mindset, whether it's in their health, whether it's in the way they raise their children, whether it's in their spiritual journey. We make shifts. We're making these shifts all the time. And so we're all really we're all having the same human experience. And so as you start to learn and grow, be patient with the people around you, and just understand that they're on their own journey too. And it really is what makes us all beautiful. And we don't know how they're gonna impact us, and vice versa. So yeah, thanks for joining us, Brandy the boss. I like that. Brandy, can you tell me where you're coming from, Brandy? And like I said, if you're just now joining us, or if it's your first time on my Periscope, my name is Angie K. I'm a weight loss to wellness expert, who is also a physical fitness competitor. I've also, been a med school grad. I've done a lot of stuff. So, but I won't even get into all of that. But, yeah. So if it's your first time joining me, thanks so much. The one thing that I do is I help busy women finally find and revel in their version of sexy. I believe that it is our God-given right to be as sexy and as drop dead gorgeous and as magnetic as we want to be, and no one around us should judge us for that. And I think that everybody should have their own version of sexy. Sexy doesn't mean you gotta take your clothes off. It doesn't mean all that. Although, if it works for you, then it works for you. If it resonates with you, you do that. But it really is all about finding what feels good to you. So yeah, that being said, this is the end of this scope, you guys. I typically don't scope this late. I try to do one at 7 p.m. every day. And I try to give you tidbits of useful, great information that you can walk away from these scopes and start this now. So you can walk away from this scope and start a food journal now. Start capturing, what it is you're eating and what time you're eating it and how you are feeling, especially an hour and immediately after you ate it. Immediately after, an hour, and then before your next meal. Capture those times. Really write in detail how you feel, and then write a little face with it. Were you happy? Were you sad? Were you full? Were you hungry? Did you get a boost of energy? Or were you still starving? Which is also a great sign that if you're on a cleanse, you shouldn't be starving. So, make sure that you're capturing the right information so that you can tweak things and make it better for you. And this is your ultimate tool to finally get to the size you want to be and stay that way for the rest of your life, and never need anybody else's products, never need anybody else's gimmicks, and never worry about what will or will not work for you. So, that being said, emojis make everything fun. Girl, yes they do. I'm an emoji queen, girl. And everything I post, I try to find an emoji. Every time they come out with a new kind of emoji, I jump all over it. So, and you guys, I'm in the middle of moving. So, that being said, I'm kind of just sitting in a corner in my room. There's boxes everywhere else. Trust me, y'all do not want to see it. So, that being said, you guys, have an amazing night. Bye.